It's time to get your money back from the IRS. Hi, I'm Steph, and there's a case that's going on in different media news outlets. It's called Kwong versus United States. And this case has to deal with a case between Terry Kwong, who filed refund claims for penalties and assessed across multiple tax years, which the IRS initially denied. The court found that Kwong's claims were timely because the statutory disaster relief suspended the normal 2-year deadline for filing refund suits under IRC Tax Revenue Code 6532. So why should you care about this? Because just to give you a little background information, it says in Kwong versus United States, the U.S. Court of Federal Claims interpreted Internal Revenue Code 7508A, Section D, which governs disaster-related extensions of tax deadlines. The court held that during a federal declared disaster, all tax filings, payments, and refund deadlines are automatically postponed for the entire disaster period plus 60 days. For the pandemic, this period ran from January 20th, 2020 through July 10th, 2023, far longer than the IRS administrative extension. So why you should care is that it may apply to your tax situation during the pandemic time. So it says the current status right now is that the IRS has disagreed with the broad interpretation and may appeal the decision. While the ruling is not yet final, it has created a significant opportunity for taxpayers like yourself to seek relief from the pandemic era penalties and interest. Taxpayers are advised to act promptly to protect their rights. So in summary, the Kwong versus United States establishes that the pandemic disaster period legally postponed federal tax deadlines, potentially allowing millions of taxpayers to reduce or recover penalties and interest assessed during that time. So how can you get your money back from the IRS if you had to pay interest and penalties during that time? There is a form named Form 843, and this form is the claim for refund and request for abatement. It is an IRS form that's been around, but this is the form that you would fill out in order to tell the IRS what you would like them to do with that money, as opposed to just doing nothing and maybe there is something that might be availed to you in order for you to claim these funds when the decision comes out during the courts. This form, it gives you would go to the irs.gov site and type in the form in the search engine, Form 843, claims for refund and requests for abatement. You would fill out this form, and when you do go to the IRS site, it gives you instructions. If you're not familiar with the form, you can call us or you can call your tax preparer, your accountant, CPA, whoever you decide to help you with this form. You can ask them for advice on how to fill it out. There are instructions on the IRS site that gives you the different steps that you need to take in order to fill out this form, who can fill out this form, why this form would be used, different things like that. If you do find out that this form pertains to your specific tax information, I would fill it out ASAP. The deadline to get this form in to the IRS is July 10th, 2026. And you have to make sure that you get it into them before this deadline. When you do send it in, you mail it, certified mail, return receipt, so that you can have a receipt on hand so that if there's anything that comes up, you can say, okay, you know what? Yes, I did mail it on such and such and such and such date. That receipt is your timestamp of when you sent that form in to the IRS. During that time, I know it's been a while ago, but if you've gotten any notices from the IRS, any penalties that you have paid, any type of interest that you have paid on taxes that you may have been assessed during that time, all those letters, I would get those letters. You do not have to send those letters in, but I would just get those letters so that you can go through them and make sure that this form specifically relates to your tax filing period during the pandemic time. This is the form here. It seems pretty straightforward. You have your check the box below that indicates your reason for filing form 843. They have tax, penalties, interest, and other. You do have to fill out your information in the midsection here, and then it has a section in the bottom of page 1 where you would just fill out the information pertaining to your tax situation, the years that you were assessed those penalties or interest or whatever have you, and then just follow the questions and make sure you complete it in its entirety. I will tell you that in the years that you're indicating on this form, that year that you filed is very important that you know the tax filing status. So if you filed single or head of household and you just filed that return, then you would sign it. But if you filed a joint return for the years that you are specifying in this form, I believe that you have to have the other party or the spouse or whoever you filed that joint return with, they have to sign this form as well. So that's very important, because what you don't want is for them to say that form is incompleted, or they'll kick it back to you and say, we can't do anything with this form. The deadline may have passed, whatever have you. It's just for you to make sure it's in and make sure it's filled out correctly, so that they will have something on hand to say, okay, you know what? The decision has been ruled in favor of the taxpayers where we do owe them that money, or it has been ruled in our favor, which is the IRS favor, to say that no, we did all that we were supposed to do during that time and we don't really owe anyone anything. Filling out this form though, I think it's more beneficial for you to fill it out just in case there is something that is due to you. If you don't fill it out, the IRS do not know what you would have them to do with that money. So as the article said, it is for the taxpayers who paid tax penalties and interest during the pandemic time. And this is the form that you would fill out in order to request that refund or abatement relating to that return in those specific years that you put on that form. So in summary, just do your due diligence. If you type in a Google search or whatever search engine you use, Kwong, KWONG versus United States. Just do your due diligence, pull up the case, read it through, make sure that it in fact do apply to you. The eligible actions that you can take, which is the steps that I have seen on Google, is to individuals or companies and nonprofits who were assessed a paid late fee, penalties or interest on their tax obligations falling due between January 20th, 2020 and July 10th, 2023. Those taxpayers affected may be eligible to receive their refunds or may be able to receive money due to them. The deadline to claim, because taxpayers have a standard 3-year window to request refunds, the deadline to file a claim based on the Kwong decision generally expires on July 10th, 2026. I would not wait until the decision is made from the courts. I would get this form in if it does apply to your tax situation. Again, do your due diligence, please, and look through the case or look through the information that's available to you and then see if this applies to you. The next steps, it says here, is that the IRS has not automatically refunded these amounts and is expected to challenge the decision. They may be challenging the decision now. We don't know, but the taxpayers who paid these penalties or interest should consider filing a protective refund claim using Form 843 or consulting a tax professional to protect their claim before the deadline, which is July 10th, 2026, to get that form in. Well, there you have it. If this video has helped you, please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, you're keeping incredible service simple with Steph. Thanks for watching. Be blessed.